Hey Steph, it's Thursday. Let me just start this week by saying that I have no idea when you're making your next video. I hope it's next week. It might not be. I can't tell. I was doing some math to try to figure out your schedule and it's completely random. So maybe let me know when you're going to make your next video. But I hope it's this week. That being said, this week I decided to reach into my grab bag of Ask Rob questions because I have a few good ones that I've been really looking forward to doing. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to answer one of those. My question today is from Nick Maddox, a good friend of mine, who actually has a couple of questions in my Ask Rob bin, but I know he's especially been looking forward to me answering this question. So his question is, what is your impression of coffee? I'm not expecting anything derogatory or dismissive, because I don't think you'd view it that way, but I'm genuinely curious. As an outsider, I imagine you perceive it like one would some cult religion. So Nick is asking this question because I have, for as long as I've been alive, for as long as I've been conscious, not really liked coffee. Addressing this question, however, is going to take a bit more backstory. I didn't like taking little sips of coffee as a kid. I haven't liked little sips or gulps as an adult. And I don't get visibly aroused by the taste or the smell of coffee like many, many people I know. I'm also a person who avoids large amounts of caffeine in general, and I feel the same way about tea before anybody asks a follow-up question. There is a real reason for me feeling the way I do about caffeine, and it's that I recognized at a relatively young age that I had an addiction I knew shouldn't get any worse. In first and in part of second year of university, I drank pop a lot. I had always enjoyed the occasional carbonated beverage, but at a certain point I'd gotten into the bad habit of buying a 12 pack of root beer, Coke, or other caffeinated beverages on some grocery trips, sometimes drinking several cans of the stuff a day. I started to notice that when I went a day, or even part of a day, without a can of that sweet, sweet nectar, I would inevitably get grumpy and develop a headache. Yes, folks, you guessed it. I was going through withdrawal. It didn't take me long after noticing this pattern to cut off my intake of caffeinated drinks to a much healthier level. Iced tea was an exception at restaurants for a while. I assumed for some reason that it had less caffeine than pop. It turns out that's not true at all. If anything, it has more caffeine. For a few days, maybe a week after cutting Coke out of my life, I got pretty irritable and would get really bad headaches. But then suddenly after that, I didn't crave it anymore. Now, on to coffee. So my impression of that drink, over 90% of adults depend on to get through their mornings, is that these people really don't know what they're missing. For instance, when I'm thirsty and tired, I take a big gulp of cold water. Cold water is refreshing, not great for your throat when it's still a little bit sick. It's just as refreshing to me as any hot beverage has been, although I do enjoy the occasional hot chocolate in the winter. As somebody who's never been a part of the coffee culture at all, emphasis on the cult part, it has always been difficult for me to participate in normal social rituals such as coffee dates, going for coffee, and needing that sweet bean juice to get me up in the morning. People talk about coffee like it's something that they wouldn't survive without, but I know from experience that just isn't true. The fact is, you're probably just not sleeping well. Maybe because we're all so medicated from these stimulants we take every day. And maybe it's because we sit in front of our blue computer screens all night long, and so our hormones have absolutely no idea when we're actually trying to sleep. Now, I need to say that I don't think coffee drinkers are necessarily all crazy. I know that liking to drink coffee in normal quantities is completely rational by most accounts. Some people find the taste of coffee wonderful, and they find the taste of beer disgusting, which is just the absolute opposite of how I feel. Nick, I know you personally love both, so I don't know. All I'm going to say is I just think that if you need coffee in the morning, so much so that you're willing to spend between the $1 and $5 a day every day just to get that fix, it might be worth looking into making some lifestyle changes not to rely on that. But hey, that's just me. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I started my new job. This is my third week on that new job. And that's sort of why this coffee thing came into my head again, because the question was asked a while ago. And so a lot of people I work with drink coffee, and so they take coffee breaks where they'll just sit together and drink coffee. And they always ask, or sometimes they'll go to Tim Hortons. And I'm often asked if I want to join. And I do socially. I'll go and I'll talk, but I don't get coffee. And it just baffles people that I'm able to walk around, stay awake in the morning without any coffee. But again, I'm used to it, and there are things you can take, like you can eat something sugary, something sweet, or you can eat even an apple. I've found is the best way to stay awake in the morning without coffee. It's doable. It takes a bit of pain at first. Yeah, caffeine withdrawal is terrible, but I would say it's worth it and it'll save you a ton of money in the long run. Anyways, I guess I'm hoping to see you next Monday, but I really don't know when your next video is coming. This weekly thing is great. I love it. You should go back to weekly if you can at some point. But for now, at least stick to bi-weekly because your schedule is so random right now. I have no idea what's coming. Anyways, I love you, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.